Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this special edition of the program. Like I told you yesterday, from 1st of December till the end of December, we'll be having special series and all of that. So today we'll be expecting Evelyn, Chioma, Joseph, and also Chiamaka to join us shortly for the show. We'll be looking at issues that affect adolescent girls and young women in Nigeria. So if you're watching us right now, would like you to drop your comments on the comment section. We're streaming live from three destinations or on three destinations. Shagalinku TV Facebook page, Shagalinku TV YouTube page, and then Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari's page as well. I'm expecting my guests to join us, and so once they join, we'll go on and have this program. Um, just to also let you know that we'll be looking at a few things concerning the program that was held recently. It is called the, let me get it right, African Adolescent Girls and Young Women Regional Conference that was held recently, which Evelyn Chioma is also the Nigerian coordinator, country coordinator, and she'll be talking to us about all of that. So while we wait for Madam Chioma, Madam Evelyn Chioma, yes, she's here already, and also Chiamaka, we'll just proceed. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, welcome. Sorry, the network has been doing up and down.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
one of
so
the issues.
yes, yes. So while we wait for Chiamaka to join us, I'll quickly like you to introduce yourself. I already just done that before we where we started. Could you just tell us more who Evelyn Chioma Joseph is, and then where you work? I know you have a lot of caps on your head. So many, so many positions, and all of that. So tell us more about yourself, and then we'll wait for Chiamaka to join us.
Okay, thank you so much, Ambassador Gambari. It's a pleasure to be here in this program, and I'm always very much excited to feature in your Shangaluku TV program. It's very educative. And also, I must commend your work, um, using social media to create awareness on so many issues. Well done, sir. Already you flattered me. All right. My name is Evelyn Choma Joseph. I am the program manager, Society for the Improvement of Rural People, based here in Enugu. And for the purpose of this program, I am the country coordinator for the Adolescent Girls and Young Women Conference for this 2021. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I know you're just trying to sound modest, but let me also ask, with a program regional like this, which brings, and when they say regional, I guess it brings people from Africa and all of that. Take us through how you started off, how you were able to coordinate all of these, and how you were also able to coordinate Nigeria to be part of this program. Because I mean, when it comes to adolescent girls and young women's program, it's not an easy task, especially with getting nominations. You find some parents will not even want their children to attend. You find logistic issues and all of that. How was it like putting together the program?
Honestly, it wasn't an easy task, considering it's a regional conference which brought together three regions in Africa. Um, uh, and every country wants to bring out the best about their country and also to represent the issues that we want to talk about effectively. So it wasn't an easy task, and the time frame wasn't that much on our side. So we just have to see how we worked all through the night, the day, to make sure we get the delegates that will speak, the 15 delegates, because we needed 15 girls that will speak on their issues. And also, we wanted it to be inclusive by including people with disabilities, because we can't speak for them. We need them to speak for themselves. So getting those nominations, reaching who will give us credible people who will talk about their issues and present their issues the way it is. It wasn't easy, but at the end, we came out smiling because we really achieved our aim. So that's just it. And I must tell you also, we part of the challenge were the communication in terms of the network, because we connected virtually to Zimbabwe and the other countries, other regions that joined. So communication network was a little challenge in the first day, but we were able to mitigate that and see how we proceeded forward. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Wow, that's good. So, in case you just joined us, this is another special edition of Shagalinko TV, and today, Thursday, we're looking at the issues that affect adolescent girls and young women in Nigeria. And I have two wonderful guests in the house, Evelyn Chioma Joseph and also Chiamaka joining us. We need you to also drop your comments in the comment section. It could be comments, it could be questions, it could be your opinion about the issues that adolescent girls and young women face in Nigeria. Secondly, you need to also tell us where you're watching us from. So when you go to our comment section here, drop it. It will come up on the screen and our guests will read and respond. If you also want to know a little more about the just concluded Adolescent Girls and Young Women's Regional Conference I held that Evelyn has been talking about, you can also drop your comment. Remember, you need to get permission on the comment section so that your comments will come up on the screen. So just take that permission and tell us where you're watching us from, and then we'll do all that. Chiamaka is here, so I'll let Chiamaka introduce ourselves again, and then we'll take it up from there. Hello, Chiamaka. It's good to have you join us. I'm sure network was giving you issues. Welcome.
Hello, good day. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm an
Please go on.
I'm an amputee, Ohalete, a member of Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities, Enugu State Chapter. I'm also a volunteer at Center for Citizens with Disabilities. And basically what I do for a living, I am a call center operator working with electricity distribution company here in Enugu. Thank you so much once again for having me.
Yeah, Chiamaka, welcome. Evelyn has set the pace. She talked about the just concluded conference, which I also learned that you are part of it. But before we even go into the nitty-gritty of talking about the conference, let's even look at the issues as being a person with disability. I've always said on this show here that when women, young girls, young women, adolescent girls go through issues, sometimes people don't also remember to factor in persons with disability. How is it like for you being a young girl and person with disability? Do you face more challenge? I know everyone will say they face a lot of challenge, but how is it like for persons with disability? Hello, Chiamaka, can you hear me? Okay, we will bring back Chiamaka there. Let me bring Evelyn and also talk with her and a few more. But Evelyn, we have a message here, and it's from Thomas Odo. It says, I'm watching from Mararaba in Abuja. Thank you so much, Thomas. Would also like you to tell us, we'd also like you to tell us the issues that affect adolescents and young women in Nigeria. So, Evelyn, let's have some of the issues that affect young adolescent girls and young women. Particularly, I'm also going to ask you maybe later on in the program, there's this thing about the IDP camp that a lot of people are also not talking about. You know, young girls are there, women are displaced, so they have to leave their husbands and all of that. I don't even know if your region also have IDP camps, but as you talk about the issues, I'll also like you to remember a lot of young girls and women who are in the northern part and other places in Nigeria who are going through all this. So, Evelyn, let's have your take on some of the issues.
Okay, thank you so much. Before I talk about some of the issues, I also want to acknowledge the convener of this conference, Target Life International. It's an organization based in Zimbabwe. They do a lot on the issues that talk about issues um, around the younger girls and women in Zimbabwe. They are the convener of this program. So I acknowledge them very much. I acknowledge Inyari. She's so wonderful. She's amazing. It's not easy to pull 230 young girls around the 3 regions in Africa to partake in this program. So I doff my cap for her and her team. So when we want to talk about some of these issues that affect adolescent young girls in Nigeria, firstly, I will talk about education, because that is the bedrock of a nation. And we remember that we say when you educate a boy, you educate a person, and when you educate a woman, you educate a nation. It's very, very important, especially at this period, especially at this time of COVID-19. We all in Nigeria, is witnessing what is happening around education, especially in the northern Nigeria. Just in 2020, recorded 932 schools were closed in northern Nigeria due to insecurity. And mostly the affected are girls. We know of the number of girls that we adopted in their schools. And this is actually affecting them going back to school. The fear is there, the insecurity is there, and you find out that also in education, you talk about a male child preference, where families prefer the male child to the female children. They believe the female children belongs to the kitchen, and that hamper on them being offered the opportunity to go to school. And this is really being a factor that triggers a lot of issues that affect young girls. We talk about also the issue of gender-based violence. Thank God we are in the 16 days of activism, where we are, using our voice to talk about these issues, that affect women and girls. Those issues can be physical, psychological, emotional, and a lot of it. And when we talk about this issue of gender-based violence, we talk about the issue of early child marriage, which is a very a big issue in Nigeria, where even right now in some states, we are still conflicting on the right age for a girl to get married. You get some states in the north are still talking about once a girl is a woman, once she starts menstruating, she's a woman already. So that age of 18 is still a problem. That consent age is still a problem. And that has hampered the adoption of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act in Nigeria, in some states in Nigeria. Okay, since the domestication of this law in 2015 by the then President Goodluck Jonathan. So we also talk about the issue of female genital mutilation, which in Nigeria is a major issue across the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, where the girl child is being mutilated to make her marriageable, to make her to curb promiscuity, and a lot of reasons why people practice this. But we've come to know that this is a very issue that affect the sexual reproductive health rights of these young girls, also affect their emotional and the physical side of life. So when we talk about these issues, there are numerous of them. We can also talk about issue of economic factor where the girl child, even in the family, where if the the family is unable to, fend for the number of kids they have. You find that the girl child is usually the one to sacrifice, either hawking, either being sent as a house help, and that triggers a lot of child abuse. Okay, sexual abuse as well, because during the time where these girls go on hawking, trying to fend for the family, which is not their duty, you find out that they can be a victim of rape. They can also be a victim of sexual harassment, and the rest of them. So I think we have numerous issues that we want to talk about, but I don't know if I should still go on, or you have something to talk about.
Okay, I'll bring you back again to still talk about some of the issues, because Chiamaka is still not here. But quickly, let me read a few messages. This one is from Okora for Blessing and Kechi. It says, "Good day, everyone. I am watching from Enugu, Nigeria." Thank you so much, Blessing. And please do share the video as well right now. Share the link of this video so that people can also participate. Drop your questions, your comments for our guests, and we have Evelyn Chioma Joseph here, and she'll be responding to them. She'll be talking about the Adolescent Girls and Young Women's Conference that just held recently, and we'll be looking at a lot of issues that the girl child faces, and then will provide solutions to some of them. She's reeled out a whole lot. She talks about GBV, she talks about early marriage, and all of that. Okay, let me take this one here. I was waiting for Chiamaka, but then we'll take this one here. If you see it, please read it and then see if you can respond. Evelyn, it's from
Okay.
Nedi Nora Ogun. Yeah, please read.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Nedi. She said adolescent young women and girls with disabilities lack basic digital skills and low inclusive schools for visually impaired. Yes, it's a major issue. I wish Chiamaka is here to talk about this issue, but let me still lend my voice on that. When we come to people with disability, the inclusion is not there. Even in quote, we talk about inclusion for people with disability, but in the real sense of inclusion, when you get to these schools, you find out that the inclusion is nowhere to be found. For instance, take for some schools, when we are talking about inclusion, do we include them when we are trying to bring in education? Like she talked about the visually impaired. Do we have interpreters? Do we have people who interpret whatever thing that is being taught in class for these visually impaired people? No, and the answer is no. And you find out that inclusion is the major issue for them. And also, we talk about even those that are able to graduate, how easy is it for them to get employed? The discrimination is there, the violence is there, and most especially the issue of discrimination. You find out that it's very much difficult for people with disability to be employed. People see them as people who can't do anything, and people see them as people who always need help. Most of them are able. There are so many able people who are disabled that can do a lot, do amazing work. Like I have, thank God, Blessing is here. She's one of our participants during the conference. Really, she's amazing. She's very much amazing. So I think that inclusion needs to be looked into, and it's one of the major points we raised during this conference, that people with disability, we need to start factoring them in what we do. And in terms of policy making, we need to bring them in to talk about their issues. I can't be the one to talk about issues for people with disability. We need to bring them in because they are the best people that knows where these shoes pinches them. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And that brings me to one of the questions I also would like to ask. Okay, Chiamaka is here. Let's see if we can bring her in. Hello, Chiamaka. Are you there now?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, quickly, please respond to the first question I asked, that how has it been for you as a person with disability, and what are some of the challenges and issues you face?
Okay, as a person with disability, it's really a sad one. It's alarming that societal barriers and non-inclusion of persons with disabilities in the society have actually compounded the issues faced by us. I mean, the adolescent girls and young women with disabilities. For example, 2 days ago, or yes, 2 days ago, during the TV program for violence against women, there was no sign language interpreter. There was no caption on the TV programs, meaning that our young girls and women with disabilities are completely left out on that discussion and the knowledge that have been impacted by people. Our girls cannot join, especially the deaf, because there is no sign language interpreter, there is no caption. So what it means is that the knowledge being shared on that particular day against about the violence against them, they were completely left out. And again, when you talk about education of our girls, mainly our girls with disabilities, oftentimes you see that there are no schools that are inclusive in this our country, except special education centers. And most of the times in the states, you may see only one or two special education centers. And what that means is that everybody in that state has to attend only that one special education centers. And again, these special education centers, we also see that they are not even well equipped, and there are some things that our girls need to be taught that are not being taught. For example, when you talk about sexual and reproductive health rights, oftentimes there is this societal perception that, oh, this category of people are, as in, they are not sexually active, they are disabled, they don't need this knowledge. You understand? So we are often being left out in sex education, menstrual hygiene, which are the things that are supposed to be taught in our schools. Okay, so because of the way the society sees this category of people, because we lack trained teachers to handle the issues affecting girls with disabilities, we see our girls often being left out. And people who cannot afford this education, the distance, and though it's free, but there are other things that you need to put in place for your child to access this education. So people who cannot afford it, they often don't send their girls to schools. And again, we also have this low self-esteem and depression that our girls face. This is because of discrimination and also the societal perception about people with disabilities. Okay, even in schools, like there are many programs like sports, all these school clubs that you often see in other schools. But when you go to special education center, you don't see such activities. You don't see them talking about sports. You don't see them talking about going for clubs, competing with other schools. Like, okay, the education board are organizing a program for school children, and you see them inviting children with disabilities. You don't see that kind of thing. So it often makes them to, have this low self-esteem and feel depressed, look down on themselves because they don't even have access to anything. So when they look at themselves, oh, I am disabled, as in they have that pain in them. Then when you now add this societal barrier, this societal perception, it actually doubles their problem, because when they come to associate with their peers in other schools and see how things are being done, compete, they will actually start to build their self-esteem. Oh, I can be invited for this, oh, I can talk, but we don't see it here. So it actually causes them low self-esteem. And in combination with their parents' criticism and also their family life, because most of the times you see that persons with disabilities are being criticized by their own family members. So even when they will be like, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, I want to be like this person, and they'll be like, I don't know that you're a person with disability. Oh, shut up. Who is even furthering your education? Just manage and go to special education and come back home. Maybe engage in street begging. We just know what to do with you. Even some places do not even take them to school at all. They will leave them abandoned. We have cases every day. And parents abandoning their children with disabilities, taking them to village, taking their able kids to parties and all that, while hiding their children with disabilities. So all these things causes low self-esteem. And even in the aspect of ICT, use of computers and all that, you see that our girls and women with disabilities are completely left out in that. Because when you talk about someone that is visually impaired, you know that for them to use laptops, they need JAWS to be installed in that laptop. And you see that most laptops they sell in the market, or they, okay, let me just leave the ones at the market because you need to install it. Most laptops you see at our ICT hub, they don't even have these jobs. It's only them that have their personal laptops that try to install this job. Most of them that are working, like our young women, they are often being given maybe small ones like carry register, write attendant. They're not giving engaging work because of what? Our computers at the office, so many places they are not accessible. Persons with disabilities cannot use them. Okay, and we also have this issue of exploitation that our young girls and women with disabilities face. For example, after this COVID-19, okay, during and after, you can agree with me that there is this financial loss by so many families, okay? So they gave priority to some certain things, and in this priority that they gave, you see that the persons with disabilities are often left out. And this has caused to most of the families being now starting to use their girls and women with disabilities to do street begging, okay, so that they can generate income. Because if you talk about taking them to somewhere, maybe to a rich person's house for them to do maid work and they train them, you know that a girl with disability cannot do that. What is she going to the person's house to do? Wash plates, carry water and all that. So you see that we cannot do that. So because of that, because their parents feel that they cannot help, they are being exploited. Okay, they're now being used to do all these street begging. Then we can now talk about the sexual and gender-based violence. It is often high among girls and the women with disabilities, because the perpetrators at times they will feel like, oh, these people are vulnerable. Oh, a blind girl, she cannot talk. Now, if I touch her body's sensitive part, can she even identify who touched her, and the rest of them? So they are often victims of this gender and the disability-based violence. So, and a whole lot of them access to health. Our girls and women does not even have access to health because we lack trained personnel at the hospitals that actually knows about issues of persons with disability. So it's really a sad one as a person with disability, and we cannot really overstate the issues we are facing as girls and young women with disabilities. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Chiamaka. And in case you just joined us now, this is the Thursday's edition of Shagalinko TV, and we're looking at issues that adolescent girls and young women in Nigeria face. So drop your comments for us, drop your questions for our guests. We have two guests here, Evelyn and Chiamaka, and together we're talking about all of these. And I have some messages here. I'll bring in Evelyn now to also join and talk to us about a few more things, and then we'll still have Chiamaka with us. Evelyn, let's also look at the angle of you talked about early marriage, and it's really worrisome, because that's what has been the bane why a lot of states have not domesticated the VAP law. So what's really the problem here? Because you made mention of something very specific, because they will tell you a young girl is now an adult simply because she menstruates, and that brings me to what in the political space where young people say, if at 18 I can be allowed to vote, why at 18 can't I also be allowed to to contest and all of that? So please take us through that key factor why people just think because development is happening now. Girls as early as 8 years, 10 years, 11 years have already started menstruation, so what should we look out for?
Okay, thank you so much for having me back. Like we have stated earlier, the issue of child marriage, it's a major issue, and it's a major concern, because even down here in the East, where we know that a marriage consent age is 18, you still find out that when you go to the rural areas, you still find out that most young girls are being married off early, maybe as a result of pregnancy out of wedlock. You see these young girls are being married off to older men who are old enough to be their grandfather. without a choice, without the will to say no. She's been married off, and you can imagine the kind of suffering, emotional, physical, that this girl child has to go through. In terms of this domestication of this VAP Act, is one of the points that we are really pushing, especially during these 16 days of activism and during this conference, is part of the call action that we are really putting up to our policymakers to see that this law is being domesticated across the 36 states in Nigeria. So far, only 22 states out of the 36 have domesticated this law. And you can also agree with me that despite the domestication of these laws in all the states, we still have these issues. The issue of FGM is still ongoing. The issue of child marriage, the issue of sexual harassment and sexual abuse, rape, all these things are still a major issue. Because of what? We are still lagging behind in terms of implementation of this law. How many people have we held accountable? For instance, in the issue of female genital mutilation, we know what the act says. We know what the law states. It says that if you abet, you support, you mutilate a girl child, we know a number of years is stipulated for as a form of punishment. But if we ask that question, you find out that we can't even agree that 10% of these perpetrators have been brought to book. Except on the issue of rape or sexual violence, we know that there are so many organizations, NGOs that are really working hard to bring these people to book. That is that's really working hard and bringing together these sexual and sexual referral centers where women who are abused can go to and seek help, and also have pro bono lawyers who also intervene in their cases. And they also have a safe space for the girl child or for a victim of sexual violence. Right back to the issue of child marriage. Child marriage deprives the young, a girl child access to education, access to reproductive health rights, access to making decisions that concerns her life, her health, every aspect of her life. You find out that everything surrounding her life is being dictated by someone else. She can't talk about the issue of the number of children she wants to have, without the consent of her husband. And even with the husband, if the husband is the person that agrees that it's God that gives children, you find out that this woman keeps reproducing children every year. And that might lead to death, or even the death of the child, or even the woman. So you find out that the issue of child marriage, cuts across other issues because, and also education, it cuts across other issues because if she's married early, once she doesn't have the rights. She doesn't even know that she has the basic human rights. Okay, that she has the life to live life, to freedom of speech, and the life to, rights to so many things, to have good quality access to healthcare. So her life is being cut down by these barriers. So that's why we are using this conference to bring it to light that these issues are the issues that we've seen that is really taking our girls at the backstage. We need those girls to be at the front stage, at the front wheel, so that they can be people who are going to run those races, who are going to make, sit with these policymakers, put these issues that affect us and see how this is going to be tackled off. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. I'll read a few messages and I'll also let Chiamaka read one of them and also respond. This is from Frankie Bassi. She says, hello, this is really educating, watching from University of Ilori campus. Thank you so much, Frankie Bassi. Thank you for that. Chiamaka, if you can see this one from Okora for Blessing and Kechi, do read it out and then respond to it.
Okay, Blessing is saying that some policies of the government do not favor adolescent girls and young women with disabilities. I quite disagree with her on that. It actually really favors the persons with disabilities. So that what I would say is that that issues of persons with disabilities are not mainstreamed in those policies. Like they will talk about give quality education to young girls and women. Then in giving them quality education, they fail to understand that this education you are telling them to give to these young girls are not inclusive to girls and women with disabilities. They will be like, okay, teach them about their menstrual health, teach them about sanitary facilities, share sanitary pads and all that. You see that most cases, those schools that we have, for as in the spaces are too much, the entrance are not accessible. You will see some of the classroom having staircases, and a person on a wheelchair cannot actually climb those staircases. You see the toilet, even though that they have this access to clean water, the toilet doors, most cases, are so small that a person on a wheelchair cannot easily wheel. And you see that as in the way that they do their thing, you see that it is not accessible. So even a visually impaired person, you don't see a disability front desk officer at our schools, hospitals, and all that. So when government say, oh, there should be access to this, there should be access to that, you see that persons with disability are often left out. It's not that it didn't favor them, but there is no provisions for their inclusion in those policies. Okay, there will be like, okay, let there be a radio program like sensitization of the of girls and young women, sensitization without the sign language interpreter, sensitization without the materials you have being written boldly for a person with albinism to see very well, no materials that are printed in braille. So there is no way a visually impaired person can read the handouts, maybe containing the policies and their rights. The fact that we're talking about, the hard copies, you don't see a braille copy. So how do a visually impaired person read and know what the law talks about his or her rights? And you don't see most of these people that talks about or that sensitizes these girls going to the special education centers. So how then do these our girls know about these policies? How then do they come in, okay, to read about them, know their rights, and know how to speak up and where to report when their rights are being violated? So I think that is the area we have to look at. Not that the policies are not friendly, but there is a missing link, which is action in terms of providing assistive technologies, trained personnel that know about issues of persons with disabilities, accessible buildings and the health services and other things that that the government provides to actually actually accommodate our young girls and women. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Chiamaka. I'll come back to Evelyn quickly, but I need you to also respond to this for me, because you talked about how the self-esteem of persons with disability also needs to be boosted. Another thing I've also realized is that girls generally, whether living with disabilities and all of that, sometimes don't feel that they have that capacity. In a class, you find a girl who wants to contest in a student union government. They tell her to step down for the boy because they feel she's not capable. You are a girl. You can't do this. You can't do that. Even from the home front, sometimes you find scenarios where the boy child is with the father watching TV, and then the girl is told, don't you know you are a girl? You have to learn how to cook, go to the kitchen and all of that. So every step of the way, the girl child's self-esteem unknowingly is also being brought down. How can we begin to build the capacity of young girls, whether they live with disabilities and all of that? In education, a girl is science inclined, but they tell her, no, you can't be a pilot. Go and read this and that. Is the course for girls, So how do we begin to build the self-esteem of young girls? Because even in relationships, you find girls with disabilities. A guy makes it look like he's doing her a favor by dating her. And you even mentioned that too in your word, that sometimes people also just think that because someone is living with disability, They also don't have sexual feelings and all of that. So how do we build their confidence?
Okay, I think this issue that you raised now is a societal issue, actually caused by societal construct. If I'm to say that, oh, I'm a gay, just like you say. But I think one of the ways to do that is to advocate, sensitize, because we cannot actually underestimate the power of advocates. Actually, we have been in this part of the country, we have been trained with that. I can understand, yes, why growing up, my mom would be like, oh, go to the kitchen, do this. You are looking at your brother, you don't know that you are a woman, that you'll be married to a man, and is this what you will be doing in your husband's house? Even in marriage, you see, some people will be like, oh, it's the women that will do the house chores, the men will just go and make money and all that. But it's not always the case. And I think that we need to change our mindset. We need to advocate. We need to sensitize both boys and girls, because we cannot actually do this by teaching or sensitizing the girls alone. We can actually draw our girls and boys together, our parents, everybody together in this advocacy, so that we begin to actually sensitize, create awareness, teach them that this, as in what a man can do, a woman can actually do. And it's not just by mere words. We can actually like state a policy that everybody has the rights. If you are being discriminated to read science because you are a girl, you can speak up and there should be a punishment for that. Like everybody should be given equal opportunity. I know some homes where mothers will share the cooking among girls and boys, and there are also homes where there will be like it's only for women. So I think it's individual mindset when you come to our families, and we need to advocate and sensitize our parents on issues about that. Then in terms of the society at large, we can also advocate, lobby the policymakers that women should also be given a role to play. Like, test us, give us that opportunity for us to buy. I know that there are some women, there are some girls who actually outlive this societal construct, these societal barriers to always try, even if they fail at the end of it. But let it be on record that they did, they tried. I know of a woman with disability in Edo State who contested for the seat of House of Assembly. She lost out in the election, but at least it's on record today that she tried. Okay, we should give our women that opportunity. It should be like accommodated in our laws. Even during the last election of Anambra State, a woman came out. People were like, a woman will not rule Anambra State. A woman can, and she failed at the primary level. So all I can say is that we need to, have a discussion around this, advocate, lobby the government to make policies, even if it means like having a reserved seat for our women. At least when they come in, they're not dragging it with their male counterpart. And when they come in, we will like actually see what they have to offer. At least if they can set a good pace for us, if they can like actually create a legacy, a good one, you will see that it will begin to change the mindset of the society. And they will be like, and even we ourselves that are upcoming can actually reference to other women that have did that, and you'll be like, oh, Dr. Mungozi, she was the WTO, this thing, so yeah, she did well, she was one of the best, and this other person was Minister of Finance, she did well, Minister of Finance. Like, if we can reference to those people that are given this opportunity, okay, to help this position, I think it can actually boost the esteem of our ladies. And again, we can actually empower our women economically. There should be an economic empowerment for our women and girls, so that if they are like empowered financially, they can actually do a whole lot of things on their own. Because when you talk about that school stuff, you know that most times the guys do all sorts of things, and they have, as in like hosting, and they have money more than our women. So actually the women should be supported in so many aspects, financially, economically, so that we can actually come up and challenge these our male counterparts. Because it's, to me, it's sweeter and better when it's a challenge than when it's a reserved area. But yeah, then we can start from somewhere. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Chiamaka. Evelyn, I'd like you to read this message here from Zimbabwe, and then you could respond to it.
Well, I'm smiling because this is our convener, the CEO of Target Life International Zimbabwe, Mrs. Nyari. I'm so delighted that you are here to witness this show. You did marvelously well in this program because it brought our voice to the table, and we use this conference to know that the issues that affect young adolescent girls is uniform across Africa, because we found out that certain issues are uniform in terms of issues that affect these young girls. So, Ma, you are welcome. She says she's watching from Zimbabwe, and she said it's a great conversation. Thank you so much for giving us that platform to, bring our voice out and talk about our issues, and also, call for action. And we are hopeful that our voice is not just going to be in vain. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for finding out time to pop in this program. Thank you.
Let me read some more messages here. And this one is from Frankie Bassi. It says, it's my opinion that disabled women and girls should have equal rights and opportunities as those society regards as normal, both in relationship, academics, in society, and the world at large. What do you have to say about this, Evelyn, before I bring Chiamaka to talk about it?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Frankie. Yes, I agree with you that the issues that affect women and girls should be regarded as they should be. Okay, sorry. The fact that some of the women and girls regarded as normal because they don't have any form of disabilities, or even more disabled than the physical disabled ones. Yes, we are all humans. They are not aliens. They are humans just like us. It's just that they have some disability, and that we shouldn't discriminate. Shouldn't discriminate them. So their human rights should be valued and should be respected as well. Like what Chiamaka raised, the issue that they see them as people who are not able, in terms of some families even go to an extent of using them as street beggars to raise funds for the family. They give them options. They don't have they don't give them that right to make choices for their lives. The type of course they want to study, whatever they want to be in life, the family feel that they should make decisions for them, and that is, we'll see that is discriminating them, and also violating their human rights to make decisions about their life. So they should be regarded as normal human being, in quote, because we are all same.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I really wished we could go on and on and on. I don't know why when we have very wonderful conversations like this, the time just keeps running and all of that. So I'd like each of you in the next 2 minutes to proffer solutions. I'll first start with Chiamaka. There's a message here. You might just read it, though Evelyn has responded to it, but you could just read it out and share your views about it quickly in 1 minute, and then we'll go on to solutions that you think we can prefer to solve all the issues that young girls and young women in Nigeria are facing.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I would say that for our girls and women with disabilities to have these equal rights, the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Act 2019 and the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities should be implemented in Nigeria, because everything that we need for our girls and women with disabilities to access basic amenities or to enjoy life on an equal basis with others are enshrined in these two laws. And that United Nations Convention, Nigeria is a signatory to it. And what it means is that they are being bound, as they are being compelled to domesticate and implement and the budget for the implementation of this convention. By so doing, you see that places where our rights are being denied, they will begin to be held accountable based on what the law says. For example, in employment opportunities, our act talk about 5%. So what it means is that whether you like it or not, whenever you are employing the persons with disabilities, our girls and women, they have that 5% in that organization. And again, in the aspect of the infrastructure that are not accessible, you are being mandated to make your office, your building, organization, or whatever accessible, and there is a penalty attached to that when you don't do it. So I think that for us to have that equal right, this right has to be implemented, budgeted for, monitored, and see that the society complied with the provisions of these two acts. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'll also have Evelyn. What's your last word? What do you prefer as solutions to some of the issues that you've raised? I know you've also talked about a couple of them. Education, training the girl child also means that you are empowering the nation. Parents have to also do a whole lot and all of that. So finally, as we wrap up, what's your word of advice, then solutions as well?
Okay, thank you so much. I would just generally talk about the communique that we raised at the end of that conference from the 3 regions. And in that communique, we call on the government to, invest more and subsidize education, so that the girl child, we have the opportunity to be educated and also impact meaningfully in their community. We also note that the COVID-19 has, exacerbated, or in terms of the COVID-19 have taken us aback in terms of all the achievements we've made over the years. And we are calling on government to see that these issues that affect the girl child, most especially those that have been neglected due to COVID-19, most of the funding are really going into other sources, and neglecting the issues that those ones that affect the girl child, especially the sexual and reproductive health rights of girls and young women. We are calling on government to prioritize this as issues that needs urgent attention, because we girls, we are the future of the nations. And when we are educated, the world is educated, the family is educated, the children are educated, the community at large is educated. So I'm using this media also to call on government to see that those states that have not domesticated this violence against persons provision should do so as soon as possible. And for the states that have done that already, the implementation should be, and for this should be enforcement, and people should be held accountable for whatever violation of human rights they've committed. Thank you so much.
So I'll give each of you a minute or two. Usually what we do here at the wrap of each episode, we ask our guests to say a word of thank you to persons, organizations, groups, and coalitions of people who have supported them in the work that they do, because we know that no man is an island and no one can achieve what they are achieving just by themselves. So I will start with Chiamaka. You have 1 minute to greet organizations, coalitions, agencies, parents, support groups, and all of that have helped out in what you do and who have helped you to get to where you are right now. Chiamaka.
Okay, I will start by thanking SELF, Society for Integration of Rural People, for giving us this opportunity. Most of the times, you see, apart from organizations of persons with disabilities that work for the promotion of the rights of persons with disabilities, we are often left out in other CSOs and NGOs programs. So I must actually I can't thank them enough, SELF, for including persons with disabilities in their program. I will also thank the Target Life International for providing this opportunity for young girls and women, including those with disabilities, to share their experiences, network, collaborate, and actually find solutions. Shout out to Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities and to your TV for giving us this platform for us to actually tell our stories to the world. And let me thank Center for Citizens with Disabilities, who I am advocating for, that is at the forefront of issues of persons with disabilities in Nigeria, and to our National Commission for Persons with Disabilities that are fighting every day and night to see that issues of persons with disabilities are mainstream in our country, Nigeria. And you again, I'm saying thank you so much to you. Thank you, Madam Evelyn. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone listening to me so much. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chiamaka. So I'll come to Evelyn. You have the final say. Who and who would you like to send your shout outs to, your thank yous, and all of that?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm just smiling from what Chiamaka is saying. I'm so much grateful for this opportunity. And I must say a very big thank you to Society for the Improvement of Rural People, our Executive Director, Dr. Chris Ugu, for always providing a good platform for us to bring these issues on the table. Also appreciating Nyari, Mashai, sorry, I can't pronounce that, but that is the executive director of Target Life International Zimbabwe. I'm so much delighted. I envy her doggedness and her strength. I appreciate her so much for her patience, her time, her commitment for this program. You can see the zeal, you can see her commitment, you can see that this is what is inborn in her. She bears this burden of these young people as if it is her personal problem. So I appreciate her so much for bringing that platform to talk about this issue. And I must tell you, this have yielded a lot of fruits, because after this program, we are having a lot of conversation coming from different sectors in Enugu State, asking us what actually happened at the program, what were the issues raised, and we are trying to use this platform to raise it further. I also want to appreciate our state advocate and the person of Onyimama, who also committed her time and energy to make sure that these girls are here to talk about these issues, and also she also bring out her time to be here with us. So I appreciate her so much. So I appreciate my colleague Nedugu. She has been so wonderful. She's been so supportive. I appreciate all the delegates, all the 15 delegates, all the girls. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Your strength, we are too much. I haven't seen this kind of commitment, in all the programs we've been doing. So I say a very big thank you to all of you, and a very big thank you to you too, Ambassador Gambari Emmanuel. I'm so grateful to you for also providing this platform for us to talk about this issue and the communique that we resolved at the end of this program. So thank you so much, and thank you to everyone that I was not able to mention. Thank you so much. I love you all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Evelyn, and thanks to everyone who joined us. That's the size of the show. I think I'll bring Evelyn and Chiamaka back again, so we could talk some more about some of the issues that came up from the AGYW men, and would like to learn some more. I'll also bring them to also talk about how young boys and men can also be allies and support this fight in sustaining and making life better for adolescent girls and young women. Thanks to everyone who joined us. It's a special edition of Shagalinku TV, and yes, we had to do this to also talk about the issues that came up from the Adolescent Girls and Young Women Regional Conference that held recently. And that was why we had Evelyn, Chioma, Joseph, and Chiamaka to also be here to talk about it. Thank you all for finding time to join us. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, urging you all to have a swell time. The videos are still here on the YouTube link and on the Facebook page of Shagalinku TV. Remember to like our YouTube page and also our Facebook page. The videos are there. You can share, and then the conversations go on. If you have questions for our guests, drop it in the comment section. They will read it, they will see it, and then respond to them. And that way, we'll know what to ask them when we bring them a second time around. So thanks to my guests once again, to Evelyn and Chiamaka. It's been amazing and wonderful having all of you. Till I see you all again, God bless you all and have a beautiful Thursday. Take care of yourselves and bye bye.